We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Ian. This is...
Hi, I'm Jason.
And we are Sinners Review. This is part 2 of a two-parter.
2 of 2.
Two of 2. If you want to see part 1, it's linked down below. I won't tell you what it's about because you need to watch it. So
let's get on with it.
Let's get on with it, yeah. Main topic.
Okay.
So
we were going to talk about artificial intelligence
and what the government's doing with... So your topic, I mean, you said you'd done... I have done some research on
I've
this,
done a bit of research. It'd be interesting to see
whether we've got the same thing. I've got some links to some articles that I've looked at.
So maybe I start then and then you jump in. So it's a data use and access bill. It started out as a consultation process at the end of 2024 when it kind of started hitting the news then. But the consultation... It was called a consultation, but it had a defined outcome. Yeah. So it wasn't really a consultation, and that was when I think Elton John and Paul McCartney started speaking up about it, saying this is dangerous because the original plan, the original bill. So it's been back and forth between the House and the Lords,
and the Lords kicked it back again last week
for the third time. Yeah. So it's back in front of the Lords again on Monday, on the 2nd of June, as it happens. But it's been back and forth. Now, the original bill, as it was first designed, was it allowed the AI companies to harvest all of this data, and if you didn't want to be part of it, you had to opt out. Now, realistically, who's going to do that? There's people not even alive, right, whose music is still copyrighted, who can't opt out, right?
I mean, somebody said to me, I need to check this on YouTube, and this was a couple of days ago. I was told this by a film producer here in Frome. He said that there's now an opt-in or an opt-out on YouTube, but I've not seen it, so I need to go and look. So it clearly isn't obvious.
I've not seen the opt-out. So it is going back in front of the Lords. Now, there's Baroness Beban Kidron. When I was researching it, so she's a filmmaker.
Right.
She did the second... Bridget Jones film.
Oh, right, okay.
She did Orange is the Only Fruit in the 80s, if you remember.
That's great.
Orange is not the only fruit in the
TV
80s.
That you should see.
Yeah, so she did that. I think it was a
good book as well.
An original novel, that's right.
Yeah.
She did that, and lots of other things, right? I'm just... so she sits in the Lords, and obviously she's got skin in the game, vested interest in copyright. So she's been very vocal on that. I think there's been 40,000 plus creatives all signed a statement that went to Keir Starmer saying that it's unjust, it's a threat to creators' livelihoods and all that stuff. So it's got public attention. It does go back on Monday, so there have been further amendments and it goes back on Monday into the Lords. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. And I guess the case is, and what Beban Kidron is saying is, well, there's copyright laws that exist today. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with them.
No.
It should just be adopted by the corporations that want to harvest this data.
Yeah.
Why do something new?
Well, it's a sidebar. I don't think it is a sidebar actually. This ties in exactly to what I mean. The Starmer's government had a conference about AI and about digital stuff right at the beginning of his premiership, and basically saying, Ian, the UK is open for AI was the outcome, and that's obviously where some of this stuff,
which is fine.
No, absolutely. I mean, I get that, because if they don't do that, other countries will. But it is a bit, when you're basically stealing people's copyright and stealing people's intellectual property to give it to big tech companies, like I'm going to say about the Facebook thing, because so what's happened there is that Meta, who are obviously on Facebook, want to train their AI model on people's copyright. It's mainly, I haven't seen anything to actually do with music, but I'm sure it's happening with music, but it was mainly written work, right? And they did talk about paying copyright holders for that, and then they decided it was going to be too expensive and take too long.
So what, just ride roughshod.
So no, what they did was, there is a Russian website called LibGen. I've done a video on this, which I will link down below. And there was an article, I think it's quite a while ago, in the Atlantic, which basically outlined the problem, what was going on. The fact that what Meta did was they basically just took the copyright, which is stolen copyright, from lots of authors. So it's if you like, famous books, academic articles, and all of that sort of thing. And I went and checked, and I used to be an academic. I have written quite a few articles, and I've written a couple of book chapters. And most of that material has been stolen by LibGen and can be obviously used by Meta to train their AI models. Now, it won't be just Meta that's doing this. Anybody, any company, any big tech company, like I don't know whether Google are doing it, but they will probably be doing something along the same sort of lines. So basically, I have had my copyright stolen by LibGen, and it may well be used by Facebook, which was the point of my video. So our government need to close this down. They need to make sure that our copyright for music and everything else, all copyrights really, whether it's films or music or written work, they are intellectual properties that do need to be protected, because I don't make any money out of those copyrights. So you could argue that the fact that my intellectual property was stolen, it doesn't matter to me, because they were academic work, and you don't get paid for academic articles.
So I think it'd be interesting to see where it goes. I think it's good that it shows that the process of getting bills passed works when it's been back and forth 3 times to a degree, right? Even though we've got a majority in the House, it still goes to the Lords, which is a little bit more non-partisan.
Yeah. There are too many people in the Lords, though, but that's a whole different issue.
Yeah, let's not go there.
And it's an unelected chamber, so
let's see what comes on Monday. It goes back. No, the only thing it led me because I opened up the document and was like, it was
I know there's a lot. It's
heavy reading, but I maybe just wanted to offer a devil's advocate view, really, in terms of, because AI is the buzzword, right? A day doesn't go by where you hear AI, right? It's basically just using computer technology, which has been around for...
And it has no intelligence. Yeah. So
it's computing, which has been around for decades and decades and decades, right? So when does it become acceptable or not, right? So you've got a room full of synthesizers, which are computers, right?
Yeah.
If you think of the 303, the TB303, right, a very coveted instrument, that was to replace bass players, so you didn't have to all jump in a transit van and play gigs with a full band.
Well, they said the same about drum machines replacing drummers,
but that was the original kind of intent, wasn't it?
It was, but
but they've become staples now, right?
Yeah.
Everybody uses an 808 or a 909 or a 303, right? We all use computers to make music.
Yeah.
We've got VSTs, we've got software that will do mastering, mixing. Won't go into all the names, but there's lots of them. So where do you cross that line?
I think that the line is crossed where you're creating something. You create so use your drum machine, use your 303, you use your computer to create something that is original, right? Using those tools. They are tools. They're not creating the music themselves. You are having.
I was going to say that. So the point is, it's in the power is in the hands of the user.
Yeah.
Right. To generate that music. So that is then seen as mostly positive.
Yeah. The problem with AI models is that I can tell an AI model to. I mean, I'll have to use examples of written work. I can tell an AI model to write me a story in the
kids are doing that homework.
In the style of Stephen King, and it will do quite a good job. Apparently, you know.
But you do see through it.
Yeah,
you do see through it.
And we are seeing those sort of things happen with music as well. What will happen is where it could be unscrupulous people, but where somebody wants a piece of music in the style of David Bowie for an advert, the AI models have probably scraped David Bowie's catalogue illegally, so his copyright will be, you know, along with it.
And I'll do that more accurately at zero cost, rather than
exactly.
a band going
and
in a studio.
Getting somebody to do, and you know, composers who write for TV advertising hate the idea of, can you write me a tune like Alice Cooper or Moby or whoever it is, and they hate that because that's you know.
So I guess a couple of things, and I'm not. I just want to offer both sides of the argument, right? And I'm just thinking of how the use of computers in music and arts has changed. So you've got. I was looking up only this morning actually. The first commercial record with samplers was Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that because I'd read What He Calls book, right. Trevor Horn's book. Okay. Although wasn't that there was that was 90s, wasn't it?
80s, 80s somewhat. Early 80s, 83 maybe.
I thought the first samples used illegally.
That was the first commercial.
Record. Yeah, but
Stevie Wonder did.
But there was
in the 70s.
Big Audio Dynamite had samples from films in their
that
hits.
That would have been about 84, 85.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now they obviously at that point in time you could probably do it.
Well, that's the thing. Sampling was an outrage when that started, right? You'd have no hip hop.
I was listening to an episode of Song Exploder, and the track and it was a commercially available track. Clearly, the whole track was made out of samples, but actually, it wasn't very cohesive as a track.
Right.
You know, just made out of samples.
You could tell it was a bit Meccano.
It was, and I mean, there is an album. It was one of the early ones by it's Entravision. Introducing, wasn't it? Which was by DJ Shadow. Great album.
That was a classic album of samples.
Classic album, actually. All samples. You know, apart from I think his girlfriend did some singing on it, but fundamentally it was just lots and lots of samples. That really worked, and I think it's a double-edged sword in making a track work. You know, now this obviously was a hit, but really for me it jarred because of the samples didn't really flow that well. You know, but you know that's just one person's opinion, I suppose.
So I guess just to bring it back to, and so just the use of AI. So interestingly, it brings it back kind of locally. So you know the Wurzels. I got a brand new combine harvester.
I was amazed. They're playing the Cheese and Grain down the road, and it's bloody sold out. Yeah. How can the Wurzels sell out?
Well, they're from round here.
Is that right? That's why it's sold out.
I mean, they're in their 80s now, right? But they've just released a new single.
I don't blame them.
They haven't written like a song in 20,
no, but I don't blame
years,
them.
So they still play, right?
Comedy show band, that really.
So they still play, but they wanted to write some new material, and they actually used AI. So they fed AI all of the Wurzels back catalogue, and it wrote them the lyrics for the new song because they were just had a bit of writer's block. Yeah. They're in their 80s now. How do we get started? And they actually used it then. So they used it with their own music, and it wrote a Wurzel song for the Wurzels, which was quite interesting. So I guess it's all about how it's used, right? Is it used to empower creative types and as labour-saving devices, which computers are meant to be, or is it used just to harvest all our data and make bucket loads of money? Right, that's the challenge.
Well, big tech will be about making loads of money. I mean, I think we can't ignore AI. I mean, and you know, it is here to stay. I mean, you do a search, and the first thing that comes up is an AI version of what you. And they're not always right. I've noticed that.
No, and they have a disclaimer. I think.
They do.
You got to go check it.
So I think we have to embrace it to some extent. But I just, back to the main topic. I do think the government, who clearly, most of the people in the government have no skin in the game, really, unless they're lobbied, and probably don't really understand what the issues are for creatives, and the fact that copyright is, because it is, it may not be our livelihoods, but it's, it is some people's livelihoods.
Well, the next generation,
absolutely,
for sure. People that the next composers, the next writers that want to make a way.
Yeah. So it's so come on, government, get your act together.
Yeah, let's see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what happens when it's back in the Lords.
Yeah.
And
people, and creatives should be paid. They should be paid to run these sort of programs on these AI models, But anyway, we'll see what happens.
Maybe we should feed it something and try it. Maybe we should test it.
I've done a little bit with ChatGPT. Interestingly, video I watched this morning, the Logic. There's a new version of Logic dropping. I think it's probably dropped in America. I haven't got it yet. It's got 6 new things in it. One of them is a chat. It's got a built-in Chat GPT thing, so that you can get it to in the notes thing. I don't use Logic enough to actually, but that is one of the things that it has now got in. So it ain't going away.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's where the line is really, because I use Cubase, and Cubase has got chord creation, so you start the chord, it'll recommend the best chord that fits with that.
I don't,
and that's been around for ages.
I don't use it.
I've played with it and just to understand it, but
you could argue that. I mean, we've had it for since the 80s when you had a little Casio keyboard that press one finger and it would give you chords and bass line and all of that sort of stuff. So it's just got a bit more sophisticated, hasn't it, really?
I think it's the power of computing is the thing, isn't it? The fact that it can just read all of that data and regurgitate it in very quick fashion.
Yeah.
So I think, we need to keep a close eye on it. See what happens through this week. So
that's it. I've got nothing else. My page is blank now.
Okay.
Have you got anything else?
No, I don't think so. We've got Ask Ian. Time for random factor. I've got more questions. I'll spin the wheel.
Yeah, and actually, if anybody
recommendations. Let's do that.
Oh, we got recommendations. Do we do that before Ask Ian or after?
Yeah, let's finish with Ask Ian.
All right,
let's do the
recommendations. I've started because my recommendation. I don't think it was a recommendation last month, but I have been listening to Audible because I was offered for 99p for 3 months. Now, this is my last book, so I've listened to a book a month. I did the Spotify book, I did the Facebook book, because my intention is at the end of this month is to cancel, because it's £8.99 a month. It's just quite a lot, really, for listening to books. I would rather read books in paper rather than listen to them. But it's been quite nice to actually... So, my third choice was Bruce Springsteen's life story, which is 18 plus hours, and him... And
does he read it?
He does read it. He's quite poetic in a weird sort of way. I think it probably needed some good editing, so I would rather listen to it than read it, because I can look at how long a chapter is and think, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm doing something. I've got
it's a 20-minute burst.
20-minute burst, or 10 minutes. The shortest is about 10 minutes, really.
Right.
And I'm up to the point where we've had all of his childhood, and his very difficult relationship with his father, which I did know about.
I don't know much about it.
And I've seen him. I saw him.
He's in the news at the minute, obviously.
Is he?
Him and Trump have been fighting.
Good on him.
Have you not seen that?
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Okay.
But no, and he's a great songwriter, really. I mean, I do think his earlier work is better than his later work. I've not liked the last couple of albums that I listened to, but I was always a fan. Right. But actually, there was a sidebar. I know I was talking, but I went to see him at when they opened the O2 in Leeds, right? And I am Bruce Springsteen fan. I always have been from the early days, right? But first time I've ever been to see him. Concert was great, and I did a written review for an online blog at the time, and I mistakenly said people were booing because he was late. He came on 20 minutes, half an hour late, right? And I'm thinking there's a technical issue, you know. But people were going Bruce, so they weren't actually booing, and I didn't know that this is something that real Bruce Springsteen fans do. So I wrote my piece and said, "Oh, you know," right, and the review was really positive. But I said, but people were booing. He was 20 minutes late. You know, he was late. The concert was amazing. He played for over 2.5 hours. Blah 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 blah. Really good review. I mean, and that was my first taste of being trolled. I was trolled so much online that the editor of the blog came to see me to make sure that I was all right. Now, I have been trolled quite a lot over the years, so, you know, I don't really care what people say about me, you know. But yeah, so I would say it was an honest mistake, really. But apparently real Bruce Springsteen fans really take umbrage at that. But
so the book, is it a new book or an old book?
And no, it's not new. It came out a few years ago,
okay.
I think. I've got my phone, so I'll tell you what it's called. So it is Born to Run.
Obviously.
Yeah. Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen, read by the author. I'm on chapter 19, and I've probably got 13 hours still to go. We haven't even got to the E Street Band yet.
That's an investment.
You know? Yeah. But it's good. And actually, I think it's much more so than reading that book.
Okay. That's interesting, isn't it?
I think it's better to have, because he's quite, like I said, it's quite lyrical, and he probably could have done with some good editing. But how do you tell Bruce Springsteen? You know, from an editor's point of view, you want him to write the book. How the hell do you get him to cut out? It must be 600 pages. You know, it's obviously a big, thick book, really. So I've got to get that done before the end of next month. Really.
An hour a day.
And it probably
Half
is.
an
It
hour
is
a
like
day.
that. Actually, I listened to a bit this morning. You know,
Right.
if I'm going to do something, I'd just stick it on. Like if I go for a walk, and like I say, it's great. I don't. What else is there? What else would I recommend this week? No, that's it really.
Okay.
I think so. Something else may come to me, but
So mine would be Billy Nomates, her new album.
Oh, right. Okay.
She was on Jules Holland, incidentally, on the last
Like
episode.
Billy Nomates.
But her new album's out called Metal Horse. So I picked up the single initially. I think it's called The Plan, I think. And then I've listened to the album, and it works really well. It's an interesting vibe. So she's singer. She's Bristol based.
I knew that she was down here. I didn't know she was Bristol based.
She's in Bristol. Multi-instrumentalist, so does all the keys, sings, guitars, co-produced with another guy. The album's quite solid, so lots of synth work.
She's got a good voice. I like her a lot.
Yeah, I find it. I don't know. It reminds me of Pat Benatar a little bit. Some kind of blast from the past.
I wouldn't have put that together, but I do like Pat Benatar.
It reminds me of that vibe a little bit, kind of electro pop, kind of rock. I mean, it's not as M.O.R.y as maybe Pat Benatar was, but it's a good vibe. It's nice. I really like the album, and worth catching live because her performance on Jules Holland was pretty good as well. I
think she was touring. She must be touring it, or she has been touring it. I think my friend Rob has seen it. Right. I've seen her. He's a big fan as well. Right. So I've never seen her, but
yeah, she must be touring if the album's just come out, I guess.
I'm just looking at what I've been listening to. What have I added this week?
I'll look what the tour dates are.
So there's nothing exceptional that I haven't added any new music this week.
That's okay.
But yeah, so I haven't really been watching.
So yeah, tours on August. So Bristol, September.
Yeah.
Exeter, Southampton, Brighton, Norwich, Leeds, everywhere. So there's almost 20 gigs in the UK. Then off to France, Germany.
I know. There's somebody I've had. You know, I said earlier, Beth from York. It's Beth McCarthy.
Okay.
So check her out. She's sort of very poppy, but really good stage presence actually. She did some sort of. She might have done The Voice back in the day, but she's got a. Anyway, she's playing at the South by Southwest thing. But she's definitely worth a listen if you like female pop music.
Very good.
Better than Charlie XCX maybe, but that's a slightly contentious issue.
I was listening
that was my rant, wasn't it?
I was listening to that this week. I was out
that album
with my daughter, and she had control of the music in the car, and one of the songs.
What did you think of it? Because I bloody hate the album.
Well, I get it if you're 15 to 18. It sat in amongst the other 1.5 hours of my daughter's music I had to listen to, and it sat in there perfectly reasonably well. Gracie Abrams, all
Gracie
that sort of
Abrams
stuff.
I like.
Yeah, so it kind of sits
And
alongside.
Sabrina Carpenter
sort of
I like actually as well.
Sits alongside all of that bubblegum pop.
But anyway, being I've said it last week, but that was my recommendation. So recommendation number 2, be in her business.
I'll give one other recommendation, which I only listened to this morning actually. Stereolab's new single. Remember
I like Stereolab.
New single's quite interesting. I like it.
I like that
from the 90s.
I had their first album, I think, and I really couldn't get on with them.
I kind of dived in and out of them, but the new single was like, whoa, I really like this.
This first time in something like 20 years. Yeah. I heard it might have been on Six Music that I wouldn't pay attention to them. It's not.
Yeah, I listened to singles this morning.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's worth a listen. It's okay.
Okay.
It's all right. I think we're done.
I think that's it. That's longer than half an hour. Then we were trying to get to half an hour.
Yeah, failed miserably.
So it's anyway. Let us know your recommendations down below. That's the sort of thing you would say on something like this.
If you're a professional.
If you're a professional, like, subscribe. Isn't we supposed to do that as well?
Do all that stuff.
If you don't like it, that's fine as well.
Yeah. And understandable.
And we'll try and do one next week. Although we're never going to guarantee to do one weekly, but we're going to try.
We can figure it out. We can talk about it.
And we haven't got a topic yet, so we need to discuss a topic for next week.
It might be following up on AI, might be, if the bill's working its way through the Lords again.
I wouldn't make that a main topic again, though.
Yeah, let's see.
It was, but anyway, we might have something to say about South by Southwest, London. Okay.
Ask Ian.
Oh,
nearly
God,
forgot the best bit.
Nearly missed it.
Nearly forgot the best bit. I knew we were missing something.
Yeah.
Right, so
Okay.
random. Let me just spin the
This
wheel.
is quite scary, you know that, don't you?
Okay. So this is a fun question. So this was a few weeks back out with some friends, and we were all talking music. So we were posing questions to each other, and this was a good question which I grabbed at the time. So, give me a song you like from a band you don't like. So an example might be Yellow, Coldplay, for example.
Well, don't talk to me about Coldplay.
So if you don't like Coldplay, but you like Yellow,
actually, here we are.
See, that was subliminal.
You can't see my badge, but my badge says "Make Coldplay History," which because
controversial.
I hate Coldplay. I'm sorry.
So there's the example.
Okay,
a band you don't like, but a song that you do.
Well, I don't like Coldplay, but I can't think of a song that I actually like by him. This is a hard question, and I may need to switch the camera off and come back and think about this for a while. But yeah, the reason I don't like Coldplay is because it's just horrible. I can't blame them for making loads of music, loads of money, and being massive. And they came and rehearsed here last year, and people queuing to thinking it was a gig. I just never really. I liked the first album actually. I did, and I thought they were going to go down the sort of more experimental route, but no. You've just got Chris Martin uncoupling. I can't think.
I'm biting my tongue. I don't think you can knock what they're doing, really. I mean,
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I'm sorry, you can.
Coldplay are just doing Coldplay now. So
Yeah,
but go on, get thinking.
I am
come
thinking.
Back to it? Shall I pose you that one for next week then?
No. I just need to. I'll probably switch the camera off and think about it, and then No, I've got it. I'm sorry, I just turned the camera off because I needed time to think about it.
And it was only about 30 seconds.
It wasn't that long. Okay. I don't like Blur. Never liked Blur. Never. I can't. say that Damon Albarn's not talented, because I think he is, but I just never really thought Graham Coxon's a good guitarist, but they were just never my band. The only band I liked from Britpop was Pulp.
The wave stuff is good with Graham Coxon.
Yes,
Wave,
it is, because I like his wife now. She was in the Pipettes. That's another recommendation. Check out the Pipettes' first album. We Are the Pipettes, it's called. Right, so Blur, don't like Blur, can't stand Blur, don't like them, don't dislike them as much as Coldplay, but
can I guess the song you like?
I love Song 2.
There's Song 2.
I absolutely love it. I love the video for it as well.
Isn't that there Smells Like Teen Spirit?
Yeah, probably is. Yeah, I didn't like all of Nirvana, but I mean, Nevermind's a great.
The song
album.
Song 2 is a big tune.
Yeah,
the Universal's good as well.
No,
no,
it isn't. No,
oh, I like that.
No. No, there's and I didn't like bloody Country House. Was it Country House?
That was when they were at the height of their
Britpop
battle.
Blur versus Oasis.
But Song 2, you have to say, yeah, is a good song. It's a good song.
It's a really good song. Yeah. So that would be my song from a band that I really can't stand.
There you go. Got one.
You know, and I don't think I own a CD by Blur.
We've got some in our collection. I think they're inherited from the wife.
Yeah.
In our joint collection.
Nah. But that was a good question, but I just needed time to think about it.
Very good.
I can't think of anybody else actually that I actually dislike that much.
There must be lots.
You know, there's lots of bands I dislike. Yeah, you know. And that's
I would be the same, similar. I don't really like Oasis, but you have to say Wonderwall's a good tune. Right?
See, I would never say that a band's a band is. I think if you say a band's rubbish, that it's not. I mean, you know, I really don't like Oasis and Blur and Coldplay, but I can't say what they do is rubbish because lots of people love it, so that's fine. It's just that you know.
You have to acknowledge what they're doing is.
I mean,
successful. People like it. People are buying it.
You know, it was never for me really. You know, I could never really like Phil Collins solo stuff either back in the day. In fact, I gave all my. I must have bought Phil Collins on vinyl and I gave them away.
I like it. That would be one of mine. So I don't particularly like Phil Collins, but Easy Lover. It was him and someone else, wasn't it?
Yeah, Phil Bailey from. Yeah,
that was a good song. Easy Lover.
Nah.
Anyway, good one.
All right. Okay. Thanks very much. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye bye.